What's up, everybody? We got UFC 280 this weekend, probably the most stacked card of this year, so I'm excited to get to it. We got some more fight picks coming your way, so if you're not ready, it's time to get ready. Let's go.
Let's go.
What's up, brother?
Nothing much, nothing much. What do you have tonight?
I'm being good. I got some sparkling water, a little lime.
I guess me
Nice.
too. I have wheat beer. That's like to make a change a little bit.
Wheat beer. I got weed pen.
Okay, wheat and wheat. I guess Sean O'Malley is fighting, so you decided to.
In honor of Sean, that's it.
Okay, okay, let's go.
I had to do something. I just got water today.
Sounds fair. Sounds fair to me.
All right,
Okay.
we got a huge card. What do you say we get into it?
Yeah. We have a lot of things to talk about it. Let's start with the first one.
All right, first up we got Caitlin Chukagian versus Manon Fiorot, if I say that right. And this one's I'm actually surprised that Manon is a favorite in here. She's on an incredible tear. She's on a 4 fight win streak, including longer than 4, but 4 in the UFC, including 2 finishes. Um, but I mean, it's kind of like underestimating, I think, Caitlin Chukagian's experience in the UFC against high level fighters. Caitlin's good everywhere in the striking, in the submissions. You know, she trains with a good jujitsu team out on the East Coast, Henzo Gracie and them. So, I mean, I think these odds are pretty nice for Caitlin considering her experience. I'm going with Caitlin. How about you?
I completely agree with you. And talking about that, like when I was in New York, like a month and a half ago, I had a chance to train with her on one training. She
Oh,
even got
man.
to pair up with me and Igor, so that was fun experience. I think for her, like she was looking two of us like a two crazy persons.
She's not wrong.
And I
Yeah.
think so too. Like so that was like fun experience. I almost broke Igor's ribs, like doing taking. It was actually like wrestling training. Her husband or fiance, I don't know.
Oh,
Um,
nice,
he,
nice.
he was teaching, and he's actually her wrestling coach. Uh, so it was fun experience. Like I got a opportunity to meet her. I was like again idiot. I didn't took a picture. That would be good now to present, but like, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know how I am.
Would have been nice. We just got to take your word for it, I guess.
I guess so. Maybe I'm lying. This is the fifth person in the row now that I have some connection. Like so that's
Right.
fun. Like 5 events in the row. It was like someone that I know or I have a opportunity to train. So I'm
Well,
also
it,
gonna go with her. Like you said, her um, reputation in UFC. Like she's 18-4 total, 11-4 in UFC, and she was losing for champs from the champs or from the championship contenders. So her 4 losses was from Valentina, Karamush, Andrade, and Jessica I. So that's like high level competition. And so
mhm.
also I'm super surprised that she's such a big underdog. And maybe for me that's best pick on this card, especially if you go, their styles are so similar, and she will have a little bit height advantage, and also like a even bigger reach advantage. So we're gonna see two similar styles, and I think she will get the W. Like so. I don't know. For me, this is like a little bit weird, like you said, and I'm gonna go with Caitlyn.
Yeah, I think that's the good pick, especially with the odds and the experience.
Let's make it shorter. Like for this one, Manot, Firot, and Caitlyn Chikagian, like both of us pick like Caitlyn to win, experience and higher competition and a Colt on plus 170. That's our pick for this weekend.
There it is. All right, moving on to the next fight. This is an interesting one. Beneil Dariush versus Mateus Gamrot. Interesting to me because there is a chance that Dariush is actually in the main event, according to himself at least, and that he could possibly be an alternate if hopefully nothing happens, but if the main event falls through. So that's interesting. Also, I'm kind of surprised with the odds in here too. Gamrot, he's on a 4-fight win streak. He's been impressive as of lately, especially in his last fight against Sarukian. But Dariush, I think he's fought and showed his skills to be able to finish anybody. Not Tony Ferguson in his last fight, but I think he caught Tony Ferguson a little bit with um, not as much not as much wear on the tires. It's not me calling you.
No, sorry. This is the first time it happened. I don't know how the fuck is my phone connected with my. Sorry for that, guys.
Oh, it's all good. I'm just wondering, people still don't use like vibrate today? Like people still use the ringtone?
No, that was actually from my laptop. It
Oh,
was a
okay.
ringtone. I put my phone on silence like every time, like when we were recording.
See, I'm an Android guy, but Apple is always trying to sabotage you guys.
I guess so. You're right. Okay, where we at?
I'm picking Dariush. A similar reason as Chukagian, just a bit more experience. But I will say I am impressed with Gamrot. So if he pulls it off, I can't be so surprised. But I am surprised with the odds makers in this one. How about you?
Let's go first about the odd makers. I think the similar pattern is here. Like if you go back to the previous Manon, I said Manor, but Manon, it's same. Like 4 fights in the row she won in UFC. And she's fighting like a veteran, like similar. Caitlyn is like, let's say, similar to Benil Dariush. So I can see the pattern here. Just like in this case scenario, I'm gonna go with Gamrot, especially in his last fight, really, where he was like maybe a little bit even behind or a little bit more. He managed to overcome and win. And also, I had the opportunity to watch him also in the grappling tournaments like 10 years ago, and like follow a little bit his career to KSW, where he was the champion, or if I'm not mistaken, even double champ in 2 different categories. And what we can see from him, like after his first loss in UFC, he changed the team. He started training in American Top Team, and he really picked up his game. Like he's really good in switching stances. Like he even shoot that low single switching to the wrestling. Uh, that switching stance, it's really throwing off people. And he's not just like switching stance, he's really good in like poking the jabs, like even like when he's moving back, throwing the kicks. So he's really mixing it up nicely, and I think he now reached even the another level. And if you go that he was a champion even before in like maybe the strongest organization in Europe, and with that high level grappling experience, I really see him as a favorite in this one. So I'm gonna go with him. I think this is the only one on the card where we have a different opinion. And especially Benil was like outside of the cage for a year and a half,
True.
and it's a question, like especially like what you said with his statement, and we know that he is not, how to say, he's not gonna jump in a main event. We have Alexander Volkanovski like a substitute. So I think he got lost somewhere, like not that I'm taking anything away from him, that he's like a high level fighter, but I think he is not where he think he is. And I think Gamrot will expose that, and I think he will get a W.
I mean, that's a great point, especially like considering, like you said, where his head is at, like on how he thinks he's at a different spot. If he's overlooking Gamrot, thinking that he deserves to be in the main event, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but he's got to focus on this guy, not the main event.
Yeah, and for sure, like if we go through his competition, like only big name that he beats more or less is Tony Ferguson, and that's not Tony
Mhm.
Ferguson that we know. Like
Right.
so, like he have really like how many, like three, six, 7 fights in the row, but like in some of those fights, I think one was split decision, if I'm not mistaken. No, actually, yeah, yeah, one before the Tony Ferguson was a split decision. Also, like
Mhm.
he was getting like not so even the, I think some victories he was rocked. He has to go like, and props to him to go to adversity and getting the W. But I just think his game is not that high how he thinks. I think he's trying more to sell himself to get a fast track to the championship fight, but like
Mhm.
I don't think that he is on that level. But saying that, I think the winner of this one, and for the reason why is this fight on this card, I think if somebody, whoever wins, is gonna get a title shot. Especially if you go, I think he's number 4, number 5. Gamrot is number 9. So I think whoever wins, he's gonna get the next title shot.
I 100% agree as far as lightweights, but it seems like the division has to think about Alex Volkanovski now moving up from featherweight. So who knows? I guess he's been told that he gets the winner, right?
That's the yeah, that's the possibility. But we're gonna see. Maybe they open some fight for him in 145, so he do another one. So who knows what's gonna happen? We cannot predict the future. Maybe Esmeralda can. We can ask.
Well,
She's not saying anything.
a little quiet tonight.
Yeah, usually she talks much more.
All right. You just hear in your head because you're crazy. I think Caitlin Chukagian said that. But next fight up, this is a super exciting fight. Sean O'Malley versus Peter Yan. Man, this is like a lot of fights and matchups where the experience difference and I think the level of competition on their records, there's a difference here. This is probably the biggest one on the card though. Who do you have in this fight?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jan. I think his game, like he's not gonna give any opening to Sean O'Malley. And especially if we go through his record, he's 16-3, and 2 losses coming from Sterling. Like, can we really count the first loss? I don't think anyone is counting that as a loss. And even second one, I think he was like a better fighter. He made 2 mistakes. It cost him greatly. 2 times he gave his back. He made 2 same mistakes, and I think I already talked about that on that high level. That it really was surprising to me that he did it, but he managed to survive. Uh, Sterling like riding his back for like I don't know, maybe like even 8 minutes total.
Mhm.
So that's saying something. Uh, I don't see the way that Sean O'Malley can really get this one. So I'm gonna go with the Yan.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree with that pick. The thing is, like, stylistically, Sean O'Malley presents some good problems because he's long. He's very accurate. He's very good with his straight punches. And against a guard that Peter Yan likes to use, um, he is open up the center. And I think Aljo, even in their first fight before he kind of got gassed out, he had a lot of success with that front kicks up the middle. That being said, I think Aljo is a vastly different animal than Sean O'Malley. And even his striking, even as much as he was landing on Peter Yan, it wasn't enough. Peter Yan, like we all agree, right? Peter Yan won the first fight. In the second fight, where Aljo, put on a good performance, wrestling to take the back, that's a completely different style as Sean O'Malley. So I don't think if there's a game plan to beat Jan, it's not in Sean O'Malley's wheelhouse. And it makes it interesting because it's a 3 round fight where Peter Yan starts slow, but come on, like who is Sean O'Malley faced on the level close to Peter Yan? Right, like the two biggest guys that he's fought is Chito Vera and Pedro Munoz, and both those fights, I wouldn't say he won. I know he thinks that he won both, but um, it's a different level, and Peter Yan has proven himself against the best, including the champ in our opinion. So I agree. I'm going with Yan.
Yeah, like you said, also like what's the state of his mind that he after the last fight he called himself a winner, like
Yeah.
I don't see, like I think he's a good fighter, but again, he was never tested against the best. Like exactly the last two names that you mentioned, like Vera beat him,
Hmm.
So and against Munoz, it ended up how it ended up. He's considering as a W. Maybe that's gonna cost him like that state of mind. Like I'm always going like you have one guy who is like already superstar. Even though he didn't came to that level through fighting, he had some good fights, but again, what's the level of competition, and you have another guy who is quiet Russian who comes to take the head, and now we're gonna actually see how good Sean O'Malley is or isn't, and I think like he's still not on that level, so I think this is gonna be like pretty easy night for Peter Yan, especially like I think he's coming angry and ready to get back to that to get the title back.
Yeah, and I'm actually a fan of Sean O'Malley. I think he's kind of just like a clown. He's a good troll and he fights really exciting. Like he's dangerous, but I mean Peter Yan I think is one of the most dangerous in the division, and this is kind of great for both of their careers because if Sean O'Malley loses this, like okay, it's to the previous champ. He's so much more highly ranked. He still has got a career ahead of him, and then if Peter Yan wins, I mean, Sean O'Malley, we see that he brings a lot of eyeballs. He's pretty popular. And I think Peter Yan could actually win big even against a lower ranked fighter like this.
That's for sure. So we agree, both of us. We pick Peter Yan, even though it's minus 265. I really don't see how Sean O'Malley can win this one. Maybe we're gonna get surprised, but I don't think so. So Peter Yan.
I mean, it's MMA. Anything could happen. But yeah, we're going Yan. All right, next up, we got the co-main event. Another exciting bantamweight fight. Kind of two different eras, but I would say they're on par in terms of like skill level and what they've shown, especially recently. This is the first time I'm seeing the odds. I like that Aljo is the favorite in here just because of activity and the guys that he's been fighting while staying active. Who do you got in this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Aljo. Just like Dillashaw is really like how to say was one of the best. He's still one of the best. But let's see his last two fights against Sanhagen. It's like I think he got a W, but I think
Mhm.
he got like more damage. If we would judge only the damage,
Yeah.
Corey won that fight 100%.
Yeah.
And the fight before that, he was cutting down um, to the lower category. He lost from Cejudo. Like before that. Um, when did he pop for steroids? After that fight or
Yep. After the Cejudo fight.
after the Cejudo? So he had a long layoff. Then the first fight, maybe he will get in his groove. But like I just think Aljo will put the pressure on him. Especially like last couple of fights, that championship experience, uh, and even after first fight with the young, maybe he wasn't that confident. Now I think like after the second one, where let's say, in my opinion, he didn't won, but like he solidified his titleship, and I think that's just saying like something, and I think in the mental warfare he will win, because like TJ is coming after the win, but like really questionable. He really took a beating, and Sterling is coming after beating Yan.
Mhm.
So I will go with Aljamain. I think like even if he takes Dillashaw down, it's gonna be easy night for him.
I agree, and this is another one that we agree with our pick on Sterling. TJ Dillashaw, he's got solid wrestling, and he's had to use grappling sometimes, and successfully. But Aljo brings a different style of grappling. He if he doesn't get the takedown, he's really great at exposing the back. We've seen that many times, and even against Peter Yan, who uh, he wasn't able to take him down in the first fight, I believe, and in the second fight he did it almost at will. So that um, he's able to make those adjustments against high level guys, even if they've already beaten him. So I think that shows how mentally strong he can be. Also, TJ Dillashaw, coming off of that 2 year layoff. Yes, he had the fight against Sandhagen, but that's another question is like, if he's off the sauce, which hopefully he is, how is his cardio going to hold up in this fight? I was very impressed against his in his fight against Sandhagen, even though took damage. Like, to take damage and then to come back, even if it was a close decision, it showed a lot of heart. But Aljamain's a technician in the grappling, so he's really gonna test TJ Dillashaw's submission defense. I think in this one, I'm going with Sterling. Maybe more back takes, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the finish in this one with a rear naked choke.
Okay, so we agree on this one. Our pick for this weekend is Aljamain Sterling with minus 175. We just think like he's on the rise. DJ Dillashaw is on the fall, so I think that's gonna make a big difference.
Oh, on to the big main event. Probably I don't know, the biggest fight in lightweight. I mean, not in lightweight history, but the biggest fight you could make right now in lightweight, especially considering their styles, right? Like Islam, he's kind of the reincarnation of Khabib almost, even though Khabib's still alive. But similar game plan plus the striking. He seems so dominant when it gets to the ground, and this is kind of like almost like that Tony Ferguson versus Khabib fight that we never got to see. Right, like one's a submission specialist. We're wondering how does he do on the ground against someone so dominant in the top position like Islam. Who do you got in this one?
Like you said, I think this is even like better version of Khabib and better version of Tony Ferguson. If you go really and look and break their games, they're like much more advanced version of two guys that we were talking previously. So
I
I was
agree.
really like watching Islam, and I think people underrate his striking so much. He's such a good counter striker. He's so patient. He's not even rushing for a takedown like Khabib.
Yeah.
He's, I think, much more complete fighter, honestly. So now again, like what Khabib made a champion that he is like again had, and pushing through and going. It's a question again. I think Islam probably took a lot of things from Khabib, and build that mentality. But again, like you cannot replicate the person. I think through the technical side and everything, I think Islam is much better than Khabib. Honestly, it's just like a question: can he rise to that level of of the not just the fame, just the having that mindset? Uh, Talking about mindsets, I think like one of the maybe the most interesting stories in UFC, and I think the only problem why Charles Oliveira is not bigger star than he is, it's like I don't know, does he even speak English or not? I never heard him.
No, he doesn't. If he does, it's not that much because he does use a translator.
Yeah, so like we have a guy who is like living legend. I don't know like how much, like he has three fights of the night, 12 performances of the night, three submissions of the night. That's saying how far he goes. Like he goes to the era of submissions of the night.
Yep.
From what age he's like from 2014, I think, in UFC. No, from 2000. Sorry, I'm going back. 2010. So he's 12 years in UFC. you
Hmm.
know and he just like, he had ups and downs, and now he built himself to 11 straight fight wins. Like that's saying something, especially if you look his last two fights against Poirier, even three fights, Chandler and Gaethje. It's crazy what he did, like. And I think he is even more using his head, because he's the only one who managed to really like deal with Gage's low kicks. Every time he was like lifting the leg up, checking, or even Gage was missing with that. And even though he was hurt twice, two times, he managed to go to his back, recuperate, go, put the pressure, and destroy him. So I think he will find a really good game plan for Islam. Only I think like the craziness and the pace that he likes to bring, I'm afraid that Islam maybe can catch him with some counter, because I think a lot of people underestimate his striking game, and if you go back how he knocked out Gleison Tibau, I think, with one strike, because he went like and he was just like counter him and put him to the and took him out. So that's something that we have to think about. I don't see honestly this fight going to the distance, um,
Oh,
because of the pace. Like if Oliveira wants to win and really expose Islam, he has to put the pace. You know, and in that pace, I just see like one or other person will get a finish. Depends like who managed to break the will of the other person. And honestly, I think Charles has more tools to win, and I'm just gonna go with him. I just like, I have some feeling that he will expose Islam, and if he doesn't get caught by one of the counters, I think that's gonna be his night.
yeah, and like you said, they underestimate Islam's striking, but I mean Charles Oliveira, he's gotten all these finishes and five of the nights, performance of the nights, uh, for a reason because he can do it all. You know, he can strike, but he can do it with the elbows, the knees, and the kicks and the punches. And you mentioned a little bit before, like he's been in the UFC for 12 years. Islam, he's been fighting for 12 years. Fun fact, they actually have the same date, August 1st, 2010. That's the first pro fight of Islam, and that's the first UFC fight of Charles Oliveira. So Oliveira's been in the UFC for as long as Islam's been fighting, which is pretty crazy. Like he's had a long career. Um, as far as like finding a game plan to beat Islam, right? Because we've seen from him and Khabib, right? If they want to take you down, they're going to take you down, and it's probably going to be against the cage. I think it's interesting from Oliveira that he likes leg locks. You know, he's got a few leg locks finish on his career. I wonder if he could find just enough space to invert, get to a leg, and just to off balance, or maybe even finish him from there. Right? Easier said than done, but it's something that we haven't seen a lot of people even try against Islam or Khabib. And I know like you like to invert against a little pressure and get some leg locks of your own. So what do you think about that game plan? Could we see that?
Yeah, I think that's maybe good thing to try. Like, and from there, like, he can expose the back. Uh,
Right.
so it's something for sure that we can see. I wouldn't be surprised. And especially the style of jiu-jitsu or wrestling jiu-jitsu, or however you want to call it, that they have. they have really heavy pressure, and
Hmm.
it's possible if he managed to off balance him a little bit and just like go underneath just to create that space, even if he doesn't get the leg lock, just to create the space and from there to try to expose the back. I can see that. I can see that for sure. But also, like, um, talking about the clinch, Islam has really good clinch too, and that's something like when I was really, I think I paid the most attention to this fight because it's really intriguing. I don't think that we have lately somebody on that level that you don't know which way to go. But like minus 190 plus 160 plus like I said, that that wave that Charles has, like, especially like also mental state, that he lost his title from because half pound, and probably
Hmm.
the scale was bad, and he again managed to put everything behind him and go and win in like spectacular fashion, So I think like he's just like, and I think I heard even that he said that he's like touched by God or something like that. Again, talking about the mindset, like, like he really thinks that if he really thinks that, maybe that's true, at least for him, So I think he's walking through that hour now. Only thing again, usually with people coming from the poor, when the money comes, like usually they just like change the track, like what happened to
Hmm.
Connor, what happened to many other fighters, Uh, that's like for me was like questionable with Charles, but I think he's still not in that stage. I think he's still hungry, and I think he will get a W this Saturday night.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I wonder where his head is at, and I think we've seen him overcome those things with a strong mental attitude. But like you mentioned, when the money comes, sometimes that changes your attitude. And I don't know if Oliveira has said it this week, that recently, but he has said when this fight started getting made that he didn't want to fight Islam. He thought it was a hard matchup, and he would rather have a big money fight against Conor McGregor. So if he's still feeling that way, I don't think that's the right mindset. But we'll see. Like, because he had reasons to maybe give up in the fights or before the fights, and with the streak he's on now, like shit, maybe he is touched by God, right? So he's finding a way through it anyway. Good news is probably win or lose if Oliveira wants that fight with McGregor. It's not like McGregor is getting a title shot anytime soon, right? Like he could very well fight the loser of this fight as well.
Depends who is a loser. If it's Charles, maybe yes. If it's Islam, maybe not. I don't think he wants to deal again with wrestling. But again, that would be a really interesting matchup. Talking about like Khabib, like how to say Khabib prodigy against McGregor. Like maybe like a second they want to go to the second loss through all that drama again. Again, Khabib will be in his corner. So it's gonna be really interesting. I think, especially for the new age fans. Like people like that drama. So that can be even bigger matchup than with Charles. So who knows what future brings, but like that's something that it's probably going to be interesting to UFC at least to think about it.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I think anytime they could get Connor back, they're happy to make that fight.
yeah, so on this one we got both the guy touched by God or Charles Oliveira with plus 160. That's our pick for this Saturday.
Yep, and if you want to see Alex's beautiful artwork, oop, with the ketchup and the mustard.
Oh, yeah,
So apparently Alex forgot that he picked TJ and Aljo to be a draw because it looks like he's picked both of them. Same same with the main event.
yeah. Yeah, like I said, only thing that we didn't pick the same fighter. It's like a Benil Dariush and Mateusz Gamrot. So let's go to our to see what you can win.
Uh,
Where's the next one?
looking forward to this, and don't forget, this one starts at 1 p.m. Central for us, the main event, or I'm sorry, the
Yeah,
main card.
yeah, guys. So it's an early morning if you want to watch the prelims.
Yeah, I've heard a few people at the gym discussing what time it is. A bunch of people think it's 3 p.m. Some didn't even know that it was during the day. So hopefully people are actually able to tune in and see these fights.
Yeah, it's Abu Dhabi time. Do we have more slides? I think I have. Yeah,
Okay.
I think this is the mine. So I made a mistake and I didn't do the good screenshot. So basically, guys, if you connect all this in parlay, I think it's like on $10 to 31. That's my picks. So only difference is like I said, on Gumroad and yours, it's like on $10, 3.95. So if you go with Patrick's picks, you're gonna make double the money almost. So I play both. I put both on $10. So I would
And
be
then
happy.
what was the payout for yours if you go with your picks?
Sorry,
What was the potential payout if you go with your picks
if
instead?
I go with mine, it's 231. So yours is
Okay.
almost double.
All right, think about that. Big money.
Now I'm cheering for you. It's better for me, Like I play both
Yeah.
out of the respect. I think we have a couple more like from the last week. Usually we go that at the beginning.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's just go quickly over it. So the good one that I had last week, I caught Rafael Assunção against Victor Henry on plus 340. So I just like put 29, and I got like almost $100. So 127 I won. Like I had really good parlay last week. Minefield, Todorovic, Askar didn't fought, so I made a little bit less money than I expected. I got Jonathan Martinez and Alexa Grasso on $10, 47. That's the winning one too. So I also got like under 2.5 Cub Swanson against Jonathan Martinez, 35
Nice.
bucks, payout 73.50. And I had over 1.5 Jonathan Wright against Dushko Todorovic. Oof, that was crazy. That was like I think 10 or 15 seconds uh, for me close to lose it. So I think I can finish him like half of the second round. So that was pretty close. But on $60, 180, that was pretty nice catch. And then all money that I made, I throw out in the last fight. So I think I put like that's like 35, 70. I went like under 2.5, under 3.5, under 4. Um, and go to the next one, please. So, and I, yeah, under 1.5, I put 15, and I put $50 on Araujo, even though we said in our show Alexa Grasso will win it. But I just like saw something and in the first round, and I thought she will get it. And then I put also during the fight, I was thinking she is winning, but actually she was losing, and it was even like 50-45, one judge, and 49-46, two judges. I don't know. Did you watch that fight?
I missed that one, but I'm wondering, so what did you see in the first round for you to make that bet?
Yeah, she just looked different. Like what we talked last time that she's playing hands down, loose, in and out. She was really hands up and she was going straight. Like if we
Mhm.
go by the just pressure, she was always pushing Grasso back, and I really thought that she's winning at least because nothing much happened. First round was the most action I think through the whole fight. So
Interesting. But you thought she was gonna finish her in under a round and a half. So
yeah,
did she?
no, no, that I put before because during the
Oh,
fight
okay.
you cannot do that. But
I
like
see.
during the fight, if you see here, I was even like, this is 8:04 p.m. and then yeah, I did double it. Do we have one more?
Hmm.
No, no. But like
And
even during the fight, I guess it doesn't show the time. But
yeah,
even
it's
during the
probably
fight,
at the end of the result. Yeah.
yeah, I was throwing more money, especially like I saw like the. I thought it was a mistake but I guess like I even asked a couple people, do I really like? I was trying to find someone who watched the fight. My friend was watching with me, and he was also like, how the fuck is this 49-46? And one judge, 50-45? You know, we really like, I saw, and I thought there is a chance that the referee is gonna give to Araujo, but I guess I was mistaken. You know, like they gave her only two judges one round. You know, for me it looked much closer, and they didn't drop the odds, so I just went with that. Like, so I throw like 200 something bucks on that fight. All that I made till that moment, everything went down to the sink. You know, so
So 200 just on the main event.
yeah. Yeah, so basically, whatever, like what we were showing previously, and the nice sketches that I had, everything
Yeah.
went down the water in that one.
So you broke even. It could have been worse.
Yeah, maybe a little bit in minus, but
Yeah.
like more or less that's it, like still it is how it is, like I just saw something and I thought like the mistake of odd makers, and but I guess it's my mistake. I guess I'm not good as I think I am.
Yeah, but there's always a chance for this weekend. So stay tuned for those fights this weekend. One more time with our picks. I'm in the yellow. Alex is in the red. So
Enjoy my art, guys, and enjoy fights this weekend. Cheers,
cheers,
bud.
brother.